Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, and my co-host,
Ryan Sudfield.
That is fucking correct. And this week we have a lot of movies coming out, so we could have gone in any direction for our Top 5. And what this show is all about is all the movies that are coming out on that Friday, yesterday, if you will. We take a subject, a person, a director, or something, and we do a Top 5 list based on that said subject. And the cool thing is, me and Brian have no idea what each other's lists are. We go back and forth, and we tell you what our top 5 movies are, and it's live. So if you're watching this live, you can comment in that place, rub my face, and you can troll us. You can do whatever the hell you want, because we will respond, and it's going to be glorious. So this week, we decided to go with Fantastic Four, and that is a reboot of sorts. So we're going to do our top 5 reboots. So it's going to be heavy in the superhero movies. It's going to be heavy in the blockbusters because, quite frankly, that's what a reboot is. Before we get started, we should probably define remake versus reboot because a lot of people have that confused. A reboot, like Fantastic Four came out in 2005. It had its 2-movie run, and it has its movie that came out this week. That's a reboot of that movie, of the whole franchise, of those characters. That is a reboot. It's starting from scratch, and it's going to build a franchise, or so they think. A remake is like when Japan makes like The Grudge or The Ring, or they make another horror movie and we adapt it very poorly. That's a remake. Like The Departed is a remake. That's not a reboot. Another reboot example, which will lead off into my honorable mentions, is the J.J. Abrams Star Trek movies. That is a reboot on that whole franchise. So, I mean, a lot of people have that confused and stuff. Hey, I was confused. It's okay. I was a confused person. I know you're confused right now because I'm not wearing my usual button-up shirts. I know. It's scary. But just calm down. The reason why I wear those is because I have huge man tits and I'm self-conscious. So, Brian, let's go ahead and get this started. So I'll let you go first. Do you have any honorable mentions that like nearly got to your list and you're just like, yeah, I can't really do it. Like, I just don't have the heart to do it. So what do you got on that?
It's just Godzilla, the recent Godzilla movie. That's it. That's really my only honorable mention.
And believe it or not, I have the same one. I put Godzilla and Star Trek as honorable mentions. They didn't quite make it. This is going to be an interesting list because I don't think Brian has any idea what I put as my top 2, and it might shock people, but that's just how I feel, and I'm going to back it up, okay? If you guys want to throw pitchforks at me with flames on them, go ahead. I'll catch them and throw them back at you. All right, so let's get started. Brian, you're number 5. What is your number 5?
My number 5 is Dredd.
Oh, okay, so would you really consider that a reboot and not a remake?
I consider it a reboot.
Could you explain why?
Well, it's much different from the Judge Dredd movie, and it's really not the same. Some people might think it is, but really it isn't. In my book, it's a reboot. And when I looked it up, I looked up to see if it was a remake or reboot. It's labeled as a reboot, so it does count. Like, I wanted to make sure before I put it on this list.
Yeah, totally understandable. Okay, so I almost put Dredd on my list, but I thought of it more as a remake. But that's what's cool about this is that one's kind of iffy. It's on the fence, so it could go either way. So, Brian, tell me why you like Dredd so much, because I remember I saw this for the first time on Netflix. I didn't see it in theaters.
I didn't see it in the theater either.
Yeah,
so.
and I should have. I should have saw it in the theater in 3D to support it. I didn't see it in Redbox, and I was lazy and waited until it got on Netflix because I'm a fat ass. So, why Dredd for you?
It's so different for its kind of movie in that when you watch Judge Dredd, it's like so different because Judge Dredd was so campy and this was so like energetic and serious and cool and fun, and it's pretty underrated. It's, in my opinion, one of the most underrated comic book graphic novel films we've ever had. So, and Carl Urban was killer as Dredd. Like, he knocked it out of the park. It's a rewatchable film. I really want to get it on Blu-ray. I'd have to buy it. It's just a great movie, and I think more people are starting to talk about it, and I really hope that they could do like a sequel or something. And if they do, I hope the director comes back and Carl Urban comes back. It was just a really awesome movie that more people should have seen.
So you're telling me that the old Judge Dredd movie with Sylvester Stallone and Rob Schneider is corny? No, it's not. Come on, that's a serious movie. No, it's actually it's like cheesy to the max. Yeah, no, I really like Dredd. The only problem is it's not gonna. I don't think it's gonna ever have a sequel ever. It bombed bad in the box office, and it just didn't get that much praise from people. Praises in terms of like I guess more people. Like it has its like
audience. Critics praised it, but not audiences.
Yeah, and I think when people saw it, they were just like, "Oh, wow, that's actually not bad." Because I'm not gonna lie, when I saw the first trailer, I was like, "Oh shit, this looks awful." Like it looks like another crappy 3D remake. It just
I had no interest in it either when it was coming in.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. It's a nice surprise. Speaking of nice surprises, my number 5 slot is Casino Royale. I am not a huge fan of spy movies. I've told Brian this. I've told many people this. But I remember when I watched this in theaters, I was like, I actually bought Daniel Craig as James Bond, and it had to be one of the most intense card movies I've seen, mixed in with a lot of really cool action set pieces. It's just a well done movie. It's a well done thriller. I like Daniel Craig as James Bond. So I mean, there's really nothing more to say. It's just it's well shot. It's well acted. Like the action's insane. It's really intense when it needs to be, and it needs to be when it's really subtle with the cards and stuff. It hits it right, nail on the head. So Casino Royale, man. Like, I mean, what do you think of that one?
I still haven't. I started watching it. I have yet to finish it.
Wait, what?
At least like 5 Bond films before seeing Spectre. I told you I'm probably the only movie fan out there who has never really cared for Bond. I'm not really a Bond guy.
Well, I'm not.
I understand the love for it. I feel like if you miss one movie, then there's gonna be a particular problem. Like you watch a lot of them, they're gonna be like, no, you have to watch that one. Then you have to watch that one. There's too many. There's 23 of them.
Yeah, no,
that's the problem. There's so many of them. It's not like there's only 3 and you could just watch all 3 of them, but you have to like find a way to watch all 23, and it's annoying.
Yeah, I totally get that. Like I've seen a couple of the Pierce Brosnan's ones. I've seen a couple of the Sean Connery ones, but I've never watched all of them, nor do I have the interest to. I told you, I'm not the biggest spy fan. That's just not my genre. But, I mean, I was really surprised. And I want you to guess, because I remember specifically what I did that day. I pulled a double feature that day. Can you guess what the other movie was that day? It is the biggest contrast to Royale. I saw because it came out Royale came out in 2009, I believe.
Right. No, it came out in 2006.
Well, fuck me. I'm really good with my dates. All right. Wait. Yeah, you're right. Whoops. Anyways, I pulled a double feature that day, and I saw Casino Royale first, and then I was like, oh, I can't wait to watch my double feature. I saw Tenacious D and the Pick of Destiny right afterwards, and it was the best double feature I've ever sat through, because I saw this really high octane, intense thriller, and then I went to go see Jack Black talk about dick jokes and fight the devil at the end. It's amazing. It was an amazing day. And I actually like both movies. So that is my number 5 pick. Let me write Brian's down. I'm sorry. I keep forgetting I have to write these down. All right. So Brian, what is your number 4?
Now this might not also be considered the reboot in some people's books, but I looked it up and it kind of is considered the reboot. And I have not seen the original film that this is based on, so don't kill me for this. Fright Night. Did you ever see the Fright Night movie from 2011 with Colin Farrell?
Yeah, it was fine. I walked out of it going, I was entertained, but I'm not going to ever watch it.
I'm not really a horror movie guy, and when I saw it, I had a great time with it. So I mean, Colin Farrell. Every time I say Colin Farrell, I'm always about to say Colin Firth. Jesus God.
Stop that, Brian. Just stop it. Don't do that. Don't call him Colin Firth.
It's a mix-up. No, Colin Farrell kills in everything that he's in, even if the movie or whatever is crap. True Detective season 2, ugh, but he's knocking it out of the park. He was awesome in this movie, as was David Tennant, who is a Doctor Who. And then that guy from whatever the fuck, Anton Yelchin, whatever the fuck his name is, he was good in it too. And McLovin was in it too, and he killed it. So it was just a really entertaining horror comedy, whatever you want to call it. It was just a lot of fun, and those are the kind of horror movies I generally like to see. Kind of horror comedies like Zombieland and a few other ones. What's that one that everyone talks about? What We Do in the Shadows?
Yeah, that one's really good.
I still haven't seen it yet. I was just making sure that was the name of the movie. So
no, I think as Brian's giving his list, I'm starting to think that he's right in terms of the two he's given in their reboots. Because if you think about a remake, I think of like a movie that was not made in this country, and then we remade it. It's just like a reboot where like we've done it before. We're trying to reboot it again to start a franchise for a new generation. So I'm starting to come around to the idea that I would consider that a reboot. Because, well, I would consider Dread more of a reboot than Fright Night, because I'm pretty sure Lionsgate wanted to start a franchise from that. For Fright Night, I don't think they would have started a franchise. They might have, but I mean, if it was more successful, who knows? I can't really determine that. So, that's a good pick, man. That's a strange one. I didn't think you were going to go down that route. But yeah, it's a really cool.
I thought it was a remake too. I honestly thought it was a remake.
Yeah. No,
when I was looking up reboots, it was listed as one. I'm like, oh, I like that movie, so I'll put that on the list then. Well,
if it makes you feel any better, I didn't see the original either, and I thought it was a cool little vampire movie, so got no complaints. My number 4, I'm a huge fan of this franchise, and so is Brian. We've talked about it numerous times. So I will literally watch anything that they spew out because I'm a fanboy of that franchise. So 2011 rolls around, I sit my ass in that theater, and then when the movie was done, I was like, wow. It's the 2, 3. Was it the 5th movie? The 5th movie in the franchise, and it totally kicked ass. It's X-Men First Class, baby. Like that. It's a really great.
Crap! I didn't put that on the list. Shit.
Well, that's your fucking fault. It's
that one.
It's not a hard reboot because it's still in the continuation.
Yeah, that's why that's kind of why I didn't put it on.
Yeah, but I still count it as a reboot because it's still rebooting kind of this storyline that they're doing with this trilogy with First Class, Days of Future Past, and Apocalypse. So that I would consider that a separate storyline, even though it still ties in with the other movies. I still consider a soft reboot because we're going back to the beginning of these people before or when they get their powers and they're learning how to use them and stuff. So I consider a reboot, not like a hard reboot where it's like a complete reset, even though Days of Future Past pretty much did that for us. But yeah, it's more like a soft reboot, but it's a fantastic comic book movie, and then Days of Future Past is even better. That's why I'm looking so much forward to Apocalypse. I was just floored by how Matthew Vaughn treated that movie because I was a huge fan of Kick-Ass, so I was like, wow, I cannot wait to see the next thing this guy does. It was X-Men First Class. It totally kicked ass. I love Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy as young Magneto and Professor X. It's genius casting. They're great performances. Jennifer Lawrence is fine. I personally have liked Rebecca Romijn as Mystique.
She's improved, Jennifer Lawrence. She's improved.
Yeah, I mean she's
very good in Days of Future Past.
Yeah, she's definitely a step up in the second one. But as far as the first one goes, she's okay.
Yeah, because that's when she wasn't as well known. So
yeah, and like Nicholas Holt's okay. Like all the kids are okay, but you mainly see that movie for the relationship of Magneto and Professor X. It's that relationship that you see in the first 3, and you're just like, I want to know more about how that started and everything. It totally works. I like the action set pieces. It's actually got some really cool scenes, especially with Magneto, and how he's
Kevin Bacon knocking it out of the park in that film.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Kevin Bacon came out of nowhere. He was a really cool villain. But the one thing I really liked about, like I said, is Magneto. He's the bad guy in this universe, but at the same time, we understand where he's coming from. He just looks at it from a different point of view than Professor X does, and that's why they're really cool. They're the same coin; they're just on different sides. And it's just really fascinating. And the soundtrack, oh, the fucking soundtrack. I remember when the movie was done and it played the theme song at the very end. Just the fucking huge, powerful boom with the credits. Awesome. I was like shivering. I was like, yes, thank you. You're telling me I saw an awesome movie because I did. Thank you. Like, oh, it was so good. But that's only at number 4. So you can only imagine when I put it as my top 3. So with that being said, Brian, what's your number 3?
My number 3 would have to go to Rise of the Planet of the Apes.
Interesting. Okay. I really like that movie, but can you tell me why like it made your cut? 'Cause I'm going to tell you right now, I didn't make my list. So tell me why you wanted to put it on your list.
Well, let's think about this. Okay, so when the movie was coming out, I had like no interest in it. The trailers weren't very good. I mean, I was like James Franco and apes. I don't really care, but okay, I'll go see it. I saw it and it was fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Andy Serkis and I didn't know that was him because I wasn't really paying attention to the production of this film. I mean, yeah, I had already seen Lord of the Rings at the time and King Kong, so I was aware of Andy Serkis, but I didn't know that he was playing Caesar. So then you watch the movie and you're like, holy shit, he's an ape and it's so fucking real and it's awesome. But this movie really was just solid from beginning to end. I mean, yeah, there were some flaws. I thought Tom Felton was a complete wimp. He was a complete wimp, and this was right after Deathly Hallows Part 2 came out. So, I mean, the iconic scene when he yells "no" at him, it's so funny that he's like, "Caesar's home." Like, it's just, it's intense. It's great. Visually, the film is, like, brilliant. I really liked Franco and Serkis going back and forth. And it's a great movie. I think Dawn was better, but I still think that these two films together, it's a great double feature, and I'm very excited to see what the third one's going to be like. I forgot what it's called. It's called War of
the Planet of the Apes. The thing with Rise of the Planet of the Apes and Dawn of the Planet of the Apes, I think they're really, really good films, and they're very solid. I couldn't put it on my list, man. I was like, I like these three a little bit more, so I was like, I still like it. I own it. But
it was a big, significant improvement over the Planet of the Apes movie that Tim Burton did with Mark Wahlberg. Do a Mark Wahlberg impression talking apes or something.
Hey, apes, how's it going over there? Hey, we're on your planet. It's okay we steal your resources? Hey, do you see a big black ape over there? Is that Michael Clark Duncan? Ape suit? Is that Tim Roth over there, like swinging around on someone's arm? Man, this is a crazy fucking planet, man. I hope it's not Earth. Like, I don't like that. I remember when I watched the movie when it came out in 2001. I was in 5th fucking grade, and I remember I rented it from my video store, and I was like, yeah, well, at least the makeup looks cool, but I couldn't buy it. I couldn't buy into it. Like, I liked the original a lot with Heston, and this one it felt weird. I was like, Mark Wahlberg kissing a monkey is not something I really wanted to see on a Friday night while I was eating pizza, crying myself to sleep every night when I was 11. So, I don't know, man. Like, hey, how's it going over there? Hey, are you a monkey? Are you an ape? Are you a gorilla? What are you? Are you a orangutan? Like, I'm sorry, Mark. I love you, buddy, but you and a Planet of the Apes movies ain't working for me. So that's a pretty good choice. So for me, number 3, and this is where the controversy begins, because I'm putting it this low, so you're probably wondering what the fuck I put on top of it. I'm going Batman Begins. Boom, motherfucker. So I would consider this is definitely a reboot. It's a reboot of the whole entire franchise because it's an origin story after that dreadful Batman and Robin. And the thing is why I rated it so low and why I have my number 2 as my number 2 and people are going to flip shit is because Christopher Nolan, I've been a fan of him even before Batman. So I knew going in that this was going to be something special. I was blown away. I love the dark, gritty vibe of it. I like Christian Bale as Batman, but I am looking forward to Ben Affleck even more, to be honest with you. The one thing I really didn't like, Scarecrow. I mean, he was fine. Like, I like Cillian Murphy, but it just seemed like a throwaway villain, almost kind of like Fantastic Four, but not as bad. It just kind of seemed like he was there. He plotted his toxic air dump on Gotham and stuff. And I just all the Batman scenes were cool when he was fighting the Scarecrow, but I like the more of the origin story part of it and the buildup of when he was training with Ra's al Ghul. I really like that part, and it really showed a different side to Batman that we haven't really seen before. So it's just a really dark, gritty movie, great soundtrack, great acting, just good set pieces and stuff. It's a really good Batman movie, and that's why I rated it so low, because I knew going in Christopher Nolan was going to make this good. I just didn't know how great it was going to be. So that's my number 3. I'm assuming from the way Brian is super quiet, it's on his list. And he's probably pissed at me that I put it at number 3. No. Right. Okay, he's putting on a face right now. So this is, folks, this is where it's going to get interesting. Woo, man, when I say my number 2, people are going to flip balls. All right, so Brian, what is your number 2?
My number 2 is this.
I told you, motherfucker. I told you had it on there.
I wasn't going to be, I'm not pissed at you. At least I'm just happy that you.
No. You're gonna be pissed as to what I put at my number 2. So.
Oh,
you know it. You already know it.
Okay. All right. All right. Okay. The thing I love about Batman Begins is that it wasn't just your typical Batman movie. It was more of an origin story than just him fighting. Like, if you compare this film to the 1989 Batman movie starring Michael Keaton, in that movie, he's already Batman. In this movie, he doesn't become Batman until, like, the last 45 minutes of the movie. Yeah. So, like, that's something different, and I think Christopher Nolan did a great job telling this story. I agree with you that the Scarecrow wasn't exactly the best villain. He could have been handled a lot better, in my opinion. But, like you said, the scenes with him training with Ra's al Ghul, who's played great by Liam Neeson, was outstanding. And surprisingly, Katie Holmes didn't suck in this movie. Christopher Nolan actually got something good out of her.
The one thing I've always hated about that whole franchise is why did we have to change actresses midway through the trilogy? Like,
it's stupid. You know what she did? Because she couldn't come back to do The Dark Knight, she did that movie Mad Money.
Gross.
I know. Like,
why? What the hell? Like, if you're offered a part in The Dark Knight and you're going to go, guys, I got to turn it down for this thing called Mad Money. I mean, obviously. So it's like, what the hell? Batman Begins was a huge hit. You should have just stuck with the franchise, Holmes.
Yeah, she's ridiculous for doing that. But I love Batman Begins. Overall, the Dark Knight trilogy is one of my favorite trilogies of all time. I don't know if I would consider this my least favorite one in the trilogy. Even if it is, it's still a great movie. And I love it, and I think it's a great reboot. It's one of the best, and that is it. And I'm curious to know what Chase's top 2 are.
Okay, so I put Batman Begins at my number 3. I put this on top of it. Woo! Listen, guys, we've done a lot of lists so far. I think we've done about 8 or 9 of them so far. This is probably the most controversial, like, spot, because it's topping Batman Begins. And I'll explain why. Just hear me out. Actually, I want to know if Brian knows what it is.
It's Man of Steel, isn't it?
No, it's not Man of Steel. It's Man of Steel. So let me go ahead and...
Okay, listen, I have the thing too, okay?
Whoa. That's actually a pretty cool cover. This is actually...
I know, it is cool.
This is the Steel book. It's pretty badass. Okay, so all you fucking haters out there, calm your tits. Give me like a couple minutes and I'll explain myself. Listen, like I said with the Batman Begins, I knew Christopher Nolan's work going into this. I knew he was going to make a great movie. I am a fan of Zack Snyder. I really am. The only movie I've ever disapproved of is Sucker Punch.
Yuck.
See, like going into Man of Steel, I was like, he could make it good. He could make it decent. I'll see how he does. Because the thing I was worried about with Sucker Punch was exactly what I ran into when I saw it. It was so much substance over nothing. It was just a terrible story. But the action was there. Snyder is a good visual director. So I was really worried to see how they were going to treat this origin story. And I stood by this, and I've said this for 2 years now, ever since it's been out. This is the best Superman we've ever had. I am not a fan of the Reeves movies. I am not a fan of cartoony, cheesy Superman going to save that sick kitten from a tree. I ain't about that shit. I don't got time for that. I got time for Superman being brooding and dark and conflicted about what the fuck he is. And I love the fact that him and Zod had the battle in the city. They're two goddamn aliens. They're going to fight each other, and they're going to weigh like 1,000 pounds, dude. Like, if you punch an alien, they're probably going to fly through a fucking building. Get over it. There's going to be destruction. I'm totally down for him killing people in this. I'm totally down for the city destructing itself. It's a realistic take on a fucking dude that's an alien god. And that's why I rated it higher than Batman Begins, because I didn't know what Zack Snyder was going to bring. I really enjoyed it. So my expectations overshot after I walked out of this versus Batman Begins, where I was expecting something good. So that's why I put it as my number 2. Everyone, you can calm down now. So Brian, why do you think I put this as my number 2? Like, do you think I'm like mentally ill, or like what's going on in your head right now?
Okay, here's the deal. I was extremely hyped up for this movie because the trailers were like incredible. And while I still like the movie, I didn't like it as much as I wanted to. Like, I really, really wanted to love it. But I just didn't love it as much as I wanted to. I think that there are a lot of good things, but there are also some bad things. I think the script is pretty weak. I think that the editing's pretty sloppy at certain moments. I don't like the dick jokes that Lois Lane has in the beginning of the movie when you first see her. Like, what the fuck? Like, there's no point of that. I don't know. I just didn't love Michael Shannon as Zod like I wanted to. I really liked him, but I didn't love him. My 2 favorite performances were Kevin Costner and Russell Crowe. But I still really liked the movie. I think it was a big improvement over Sucker Punch. So I still liked it, but I didn't love it like I wanted to.
The thing is, like, I never said it was a perfect movie. I don't like some of the writing in it. I don't like Amy Adams as Lois Lane. I still don't like the fact that we're still going on this notion that if you have him in black rimmed glasses, no one knows who the fuck he is. I still hate that trope. So, like, regarding all the things I didn't really care for it, I still enjoyed it a lot. And I cannot wait to see where they go with Batman v Superman, this whole universe. So that's why I put it as my number 2, because it exceeded my expectations. It's the best Superman we've had. Sue me. So, since I put Man of Steel at number 2, I don't think Brian has any fucking clue what I have as my number 1.
No.
I was actually debating on switching 1 and 2, and if I put Man of Steel number 1, I'd probably get, like, torches thrown at me. So I put this as my number 1 just because I was so blown away by it, and I had so much fun with it, and it totally recaptured the original, but it also made it new and unique in its own sick, twisted way. But I'm going to let Brian go first. Brian, what is your favorite reboot thus far?
My favorite reboot thus far is Star Trek.
Wait a minute. So the movie I opened up with as my honorable mention is your number 1.
Yes.
Interesting. I just want to let you guys know right now that me and Brian have such polar opposites of number 1s. It's actually quite magical. So, Brian, tell the people out there why Star Trek is your favorite reboot, and were you a fan of the original movies, the TV shows, etc.?
Well, the thing is, when I saw it opening day back in 2009, I had no idea what Star Trek was. I had no idea. I never really heard about it. I might have, but I don't really remember. So when I saw the movie, and this is just me being insane, when they did the whole jump speed or light speed or whatever they call it in Star Trek, I'm like, that is a carbon copy of Star Wars. Like, seriously, that is a copy of Star Wars. But then, I still love the movie nonetheless. But then afterwards, I'm like, I found out that that particular movie was based on a bunch of other movies and the Star Trek TV shows, and I'm like, oh, it's still ripping off Star Wars. Then I found out it came out before Star Wars, and I'm like, oh, all right, cool, all right, whatever. I love what J.J. Abrams did with this and Into Darkness. I'm very curious to see what Justin Lin's going to do with Star Trek Beyond. The cast in this movie is great. Visually, the film is awesome. I don't care about lens flare. I know everyone has the whole negativity around the whole lens flare. I could care less. I think the lens flare is awesome. I'm curious to know if he's going to put that in Star Wars. I don't think he will, but I'm curious to see what he's going to do with that. I just think that as a reboot from the older movies, it succeeded in every way because afterwards I watched the movies and the original motion pictures are not exactly great. Wrath of Khan's awesome and Search for Spock is great, but the other ones, I can't really think of any other one that's like memorable in my opinion. But what J.J. Abrams, like I said, did with this, he did such a great job with this, rebooting this franchise, not only for older fans, but for newer fans. It got a lot of people into Star Trek, and he did a great job, and I got to give him major props for that. And that's what I think he's going to do with Star Wars. I think he's going to get people who weren't really Star Wars fans into it because of what he's going to do with The Force Awakens. That's what I think, but it could, I don't know what's going to happen.
Interesting. I was never a huge fan of the TV shows or the old movies at all. They just never really captured me. But I really liked the reboot a lot. I remember it was 2009, man. It was like I saw it after my shift at the movie theater, and I was like the only one in the theater. And it was just great. It was such a fun ride. It was so entertaining. I was like, yeah. I really dug that. So I really like Into Darkness. I have both of them. So great pick. Do you have any idea what mine is?
No, not at all.
Like, do you don't have like the slightest clue?
No.
I don't think anyone does.
No, I don't. I really don't.
I'm going to say 2 words, and you're going to already know what it is. Or 3 words.
Oh.
Bruce fucking Campbell.
Evil Dead.
Ladies and gentlemen, my number 1 is Evil Dead, the 2013 version. Now listen, I love the first 3 a lot, actually. I have all 3 of them. I like the first one. I love the second one, and I like the third one. But let me tell you something. When I saw this in theaters, I was so pumped for it. I was like, Sam Raimi and Bruce Campbell are producing this thing. So they're basically, they got their hands in it. So I don't think they're going to screw it up. And they didn't. This is such an improvement over the first one. And even this has like a low budget feel to it. But the reason why I like it so much more is because, one, it's gory as fuck. It's gorier than the first one. The second, the cinematography is actually really fucking good. I love the dark, rich colors of the forest and the blood and everything just counteracting with the shadows and stuff. It's just a really, really intense horror film. Yes, the dialogue's kind of bad. So what? I still had fun with it. As a horror fan and as part of this genre, it's insanely entertaining. And listen, when you have a bunch of kids that are stuck in a cabin, you're thinking to yourself, well, if this shit goes down, they're going to fucking run away. I actually really like the reasoning as to why they stayed there. So it made sense, and it was actually a better reasoning than the first one. So, well, I mean, in both of them, this isn't a spoiler, but like the bridge is like, flooded or broken or whatever. But at least in this one, they acknowledge like we need to get the fuck out of here when weird stuff happens. And then there's like, no, we need to stay because of this. And it's like, that's really clever. And it's got one of the goriest, bloodiest final climaxes I've seen in a horror film. It's just a magical experience. I love it. I love this thing to death. And I actually like it more than the classic. So that would be my favorite reboot thus far. It was really hard to kind of pick because I had my list and I was like, Evil Dead, you stick out. Yeah, I'm gonna do this. So yeah, that's my number 1. That's an interesting list from both of us. We only have 1 movie in common. That's crazy. I thought we'd have a lot more, but okay then. So but that, what me and Brian say, it doesn't matter what we say. It matters what you guys have to say. Comment the place fill up on my face, and you let me know what are some of your favorite reboots, or even if you have any. But before we wrap it up, Brian, what are some of the worst ones that just kind of stick out to you? I think we both know where we're going with this. So
okay, here we go. Worst ones: Planet of the Apes, The Lone Ranger, the 1998 Godzilla, and the worst one, ladies and gentlemen, Fantastic Four.
The movie that
or as I call it, Fan Shitstick 4.
The movie that we're supposed to fucking honor this week is the worst one from Brian. I have to agree. Listen, two of the worst ones I can remember in recent memory is Terminator Genisys and Fantastic Four. Now,
I didn't hate Terminator Genisys. I didn't.
But here's the deal, though. As much as I dislike both of them, I would take Genisys any day of the week over Fantastic Four, even though Genisys has like a
100%. I'd rather watch 50 Shades of Grey than Fantastic Four. I'm serious.
Yeah. No, and this is actually a good segue because everyone that's watching this episode right now, tune in tomorrow for another episode of Real Me and Colin Movie Podcast, my podcast on my YouTube channel. I will be having my reviews of the Fantastic Four. I'll go into more in depth, and I will have the gift. So that's actually a really good segue because there's a lot to say about that movie. Oh, yikes. But no, it's one of the worst superhero movies I've ever seen. It's one of the worst reboots. There's just nothing more to say. So, Brian, what is on next week's agenda?
Next week, we're doing the top 5 movies based on TV shows in honor of The Man from U.N.C.L.E.
This is going to be a tough one because there's only a handful of ones that have been based off of TV shows that are good.
I think I know my worst, and I think I might know your worst too. I think I'm not sure.
I'd have to like look it up because I honestly can't think of any that are like super good besides Mission Impossible. So I don't know. I'd have to like research a little bit. So yeah, that will that is next week's episode, guys. So in honor of Man from U.N.C.L.E. So are you guys excited for next week? What are some of your favorite reboots? Like I said, comment, place with my face. Brian, where can the people find you online?
You can find me at Twitter at BrianSuts98 and YouTube.com/BrianSutfield.
And don't go follow him. I'm just kidding. Follow him. All of his links will be in the description below. His Twitter, YouTube, everything will be in the link in the description below. Same for me, Twitter, all that jazz. Guys, I'm not going to force you to follow me or do anything. If you want to do that shit, it's in the description below. So I want to thank Brian, as usual, for coming on, and we will see you guys next week for another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live. I'm Chase Lee.
I'm Brian Sutfield.
That's fucking right. We'll see you guys next week for another episode of fucking craziness and more list. Goodbye. Let's play the outro music. Fuck Fantastic Four. Fuck it. Fuck Fantastic Four. Yep. Okay. Goodbye. Okay. Hold on and. All right.